end was near, spoke about the exodus of the Israelites from Egypt and gave instructions concerning the burial of his bones. 자, 한글로 읽겠습니다. 시작. 믿음으로 요셉은 임종시에 이스라엘 자손들이 떠날 것을 말하고 또 자기 뼈를 위하여 명하였으며. We know the story of Joseph in Genesis. Actually, the story of Genesis is the Jacob's family story. Okay, so the actor in the Genesis, if we can select one person, that is Jacob. Okay, and also Joseph also important person. So we know the Joseph born by his mother Rachel and his father Jacob. So chapter 30. Okay, so there is a competition for mothers, wives of the Jacob, right? So eventually, the Joseph was the 11th, the son, the most lovely son for the Jacob. And then when he became grown up, some teenager, he dreamed 2 dreams. Okay, so Joseph dreamed, and then we know the Joseph sold by his brother. Also, he tempted by the Potiphar's wife, and also he interpreted the dreams of the cupbearers and the bread baker, and also eventually interpreted the Pharaoh's dreams, and then became prime minister of Egypt, which means the father of the Pharaoh. And then he prepared for the 흉년. What is English say? Famine. Okay, famine. And then he prepared the 7 years, the good harvests after that, the famine. And then his brothers visited the Egypt. And then he encountered his brothers. Finally, the forgave his brothers. And then the Israel people immigrated to Egypt. That is the end of the story, okay? So today I want to discuss what is leadership of the Joseph through his story. So my usually the preaching is consists of the figures. So now you guys nodding or sleep, okay? So let's have fun. So these are the dreams. The first is you can see this harvested the group of which is bow down the Joseph's one, okay? 11th and the middle of one should be the Joseph, okay? The second, the dream was about the 11 stars and the sun and the moon bow down to the Joseph. So he just shared his story. Last night he dreamed 2 dreams. However, his brothers disliked the interpretation, like, because the Joseph was the lovely son for his father, and then his dreams saying, "I will be some ruler for you guys." So they envied, right? However, his father Jacob, he kept this story in his mind. Okay, he didn't miss this story. Okay, so in the Bible, if 2 times means that God will make realized for sure. Okay, so which means you can see God gave two dreams. In the same way, in the Pharaoh's the dream also two dreams. Okay, which means God will make realize for sure. So eventually, so Joseph went to his brothers, deliver some bread, but the brother planned to kill him. Okay, so you can see he thrown into some pit, and later on they tried to kill him, but he's the eldest brother Reuben saying, so don't kill. And then other brother Judah saying, we just sell him to the slave seller, right? Eventually he brought to the Egypt. Okay, Egypt. However, God was with him all the times, which means that he's Potiphar is the owner of this house, okay, and Potiphar observed that God was with him, okay, and then Joseph's master Potiphar observed his house was prosperous because of the Joseph. Joseph is always blessed by God, even though Potiphar didn't believe in God, but he observed. So in the same way, you can see some people is prosperous, right? And even though he didn't much, but he on good position and published good papers. Probably many students envies, right? And something like that. But the important thing is the wisdom is from the God. Okay, so Potiphar, anointed Joseph as the attendant, chief attendant, which means he managed the Potiphar's the household. Okay. However, his wife, Potiphar's wife, observed, I think in the Bible, as I remember it, the 3 years, okay, observed the Joseph. Joseph was very beautiful and handsome, and he is a holy gentleman. And after 3 years, she couldn't, okay, and resist her desire, and then tempted Joseph in the same way, like this, okay? Imagine the Potiphar is the officer to protect the Pharaoh, which means he's a very high position in the Egypt. And his wife, Potiphar's wife, should be the beautiful lady, okay? So imagine a beautiful lady tempts you or me. It is very challenging, right? Imagine she's like, we can take examples of Miss Korea, okay? She tempts you, so I think just a few person can survive. Most of the gentlemen will be tempted by. So which means without the help of protection from the God, we cannot survive the temptation. This temptation from the Satan, okay? Because in the Bible we saying Joseph is a leader eventually, right? So the Satan's plan is try to tumble down his servant, right? So the Joseph was the target number 1 in among the 12 the sons of Jacob, right? Anyway, he survived with the help by Holy Spirit, and then, but she lied. Joseph tried to, how can say, treated the master's wife in some proper way, right? So I cannot find the exact English word. And then eventually he went to jail. Remember, usually you can see Potiphar is the high positioned the officer. He can kill the Joseph easily, right? Because Joseph is just the servant or slave, okay? But he has some kind of some faith or some belief in the Joseph. Even though his wife said something bad, but Potiphar somehow didn't trust his wife 100%. Just kept the personal, or this is the empire, some jail, okay, jail for some political, some prisoners kept by this jail, right? So, and then he met some high positioned officers. At that time, the wine cup bearer and the bread baker is high positioned persons, because the wine and the bread is important, the food for the Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, right? So he almost 100% trust them, which means they are very high positioned. But one of them had some scheme to kill his Pharaoh, and then they kept in jail. Some investigation, okay, undergoing. Eventually, they had dreams. The cupbearer dream. Someday he squeezed the grave into the cup of his the Pharaoh. On the other hand, the baker, he hold on had the basket of the bread. Some time the birds gathered and ate. He tried to settle, but he couldn't. Eventually, they worried about these dreams. Remember, Joseph is the person can interpret the dream because of the Holy Spirit. Okay, so he interpreted their dreams. Eventually, the cupbearer is released. On the other hand, the baker will be crossed. He is hanged out in the tree. And when the cupbearer is released, Joseph asked, "Please don't forget me. So please let me go out from this jail because I am innocent." Okay. However, 3 years, the cupbearer forgot. Later on, Pharaoh dreamed 2 dreams he worried about, and then at that time, cupbearer is remembered Joseph's the interpretation ability. So the dream is, you can see 7, the fat, the cow's ox is eaten by this weak or the sin, okay, the cows, okay. Also, you can see this is a good, the which are eaten by this weak or some wicked, 사악한, okay, which, okay. So nobody in Egypt can interpret these dreams. So the Pharaoh is very worried about this one, and then eventually the Joseph interpreted this one. Okay. Also, he also suggested the way how to prepare this disaster, right? So 7 year good harvest years, after that 3 year, 7 year the famine. Okay, he explained we prepare good storage. Okay, and then we can collect this one, and then can survive, save your people. Also, Pharaoh, you can make your kingdom more stronger. So after listening to this Joseph's explanation, they recognize Joseph must be the wise person. His wisdom is from God. And then the Pharaoh anointed the Joseph as the prime minister in Egypt, the father of the Pharaoh. Okay, he's the second, the powerful person in Egypt. So you can see here the Pharaoh and the Joseph. So Joseph became some prime minister, and then he planned for the 7 years the famine. Okay, so he collect and then also prepared. Also after that, he's selling the crops. Okay, to the people in Egypt and also other countries such as Canaan. Okay. At that time, the Canaan, his father's family, they run out of the cross, and then they heard the story over some story. Egypt had the stories of some good harvest, and then they decide to go there and then find something to save their family. And then Joseph is recognized easily his brothers, but he didn't release his identity. Okay, he pretend as another person, and so the first time he kept his the first eldest brother Reuben, and then just sent out his 10, actually not 10. How many? 1, 2, 10, right? 9 people, right? 9, right? Because Benjamin didn't join this the travel, and then next travel run out of the harvest and the crops, and then they persuaded his father, we have to bring the youngest son Benjamin, otherwise you cannot get the crops. Okay. And then Joseph met his Benjamin, the same mother's his younger brother, right? He couldn't resist his the sorrow, and then he eventually released his identity, and then he hugged his brothers. Okay, and also Joseph forgave his brothers. Okay, 10 brothers, even though they tried to kill him, also sold him to Egypt. He confessed that God sent me before you guys to save our people and also other people. So that is important, some aspect of the leader. So, and then eventually Joseph met his father Jacob, and then the family of Jacob is moved out. At that time, 300 people, around 300 people, they move out, and then Joseph recommended or advised his father to ask the Goshen, the area, to live there for the Israelites. Okay. And then Israelites settled down Egypt and lived well. However, you can see his father Jacob also blessed the Pharaoh. Okay, his life is very tough, but he confessed that God was with him. His life, even though tough, but I lived very worthy life, and also blessed the Pharaoh. After the death of his father Jacob, many years later, eventually this is Joseph. Joseph became the old, and he is the moment the time. At that time, he prophesied the exodus of his people. At that time, he asked his the brothers, "Please bring my bones and carry my bone, and then will be buried in the Canaan." Okay, because the Joseph is the dreamer, which means that he got some the future, some prophecy from the God, Holy Spirit. Okay, and then maybe he dreamed like this. Do you know what is this? This is dividing by the God, right, in the Red Sea. Okay, maybe he dreamed, okay? So this is the Exodus route. So they lived the Goshen, 400 years, and then the population is increased like the sand or stars, and then exactly 430 years, the leader, the Moses, will lead his people from this route, and they're going to the Jericho, the castle Jericho, Yerigo성, right? So we know the story of this. Okay. So maybe Joseph dreamed this story. God allowed this story. Okay, because you remember Moses, even though he could not enter the Canaan, God asked him to climb in the mountain, and then God gave the good sight, Cholian. He can see the 1,000-mile the sight, the eye, and then he can see the Canaan. Okay, he can after that he breathed his last breath. So the blessed life along with God. So I can discuss two things. The first one, what is a blessing in our life, and the second one is the leadership. Okay, the first one is the blessing life. So this is the story of the chief attendant of the Potiphar. Potiphar in Korean, the Potiphar, right? So the Lord was with Joseph, so that he prospered. He was prosperous because of God. And then his master, Potiphar, anointed him as the attendant and let him manage his whole household. Okay. So nowadays, our lovely, or my sincere students and fellow professors and Dr. John. So I think the song we sang during tonight worship, what is the reason in our life we are saying to worship God? Because Jesus Christ crucified to save our life. Also, he gave the forever life with him, right? So living with God is blessing itself. Or the blessing, or wisdom, or joy is come from the God. Okay, that's why our reason to live in our life is to worship God. Okay. This is the main theme today. Preaching. What is the true leadership? Okay. The true leadership is recognize God's the intention. Okay, so here, even though you can see his brothers sold the Joseph to the slave seller, and he experienced very tough life. Eventually, he became the prime minister in Egypt, but before that, at least he 10 years, he struggled a very tough life. Also, almost he died because of the Potiphar's wife temptation. Okay, but he became true the gold. Okay, the pure gold. Okay, which means his characteristics, his mind, heart, pretty mature to manage the Egypt in the country of Egypt as a prime minister. So the God intensively trained his lovely son Joseph. In the same way, in your life, even, such as the student, the PhD or the master degree study, your life is very tough, right? Some of our students are happy, some students are not. Most of the students are always worrying about future career and the publishing papers, also the project. Your advisor pushing you, right? All the time, right? Some of students from my lab, so I can sometimes push, how's it going in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening. Probably they feel the stress, okay? Hopefully forgive me. So the leadership should be based on the God's intention. So Joseph recognized that tough life was planned by God to preparation to save his people, also to prepare God's plan. God's plan is to increase the population of Israelites in Egypt and then bring them out of the Egypt to Canaan. Okay, Joseph maybe he dreamed the God's plan, and then he can able to forgive his brothers. Okay. So conclusion. So from where does leadership come? The leadership comes from our faith toward God. Eventually, the faith itself granted by God, right? So actually, our faith is not ours, as you know, from the God. The Ephesians verse saying the faith is granted by God. The second one is what does true leadership look like? True leadership is the servant leadership, such as Jesus Christ. Okay, so this is the last figure. You can see Jesus when the Last Supper, before he arrested for the crucifixion in Golgotha, right? So he washed his disciples' feet from the Peter to the Judah, okay, God of Judah, and then he said, "So my disciples do like this. I leave this as example, as a leader, because after Jesus, the death, also he resurrection, he is going to the heaven. His disciples will be leaders. So he wants to teach the true leadership is the servant leadership. And then finally, most of the disciples, they died for Jesus Christ, for the glory of God. Let's pray.